Morgan Worth, 28, Springfield, Illinois, and currently we're in my basement, which is working as my shop, Moonrise Vintage. About 10 years ago, I had the idea to start more of a community center that we did sell vintage clothing, but also books, local art, etc. I was more focused on the community aspect. I wanted to work with a lot of local charities. It wasn't focused so much on selling vintage clothing. To me, it was more of a community space, kind of an artist commune. I wanted to do support groups for depression, anxiety, suicide prevention. I wanted to kind of be able to bring people together to have a support system. We also wanted to have local shows there since there aren't many venues here anymore. There's really just not a lot of community space to go to art shows, to go to see bands play. It started out as Urban Recycled when I was with my partner. We went to estate sales together, thrifted together constantly. We used a lot of our personal collection just to start the business. The main idea was to not waste anything. If we couldn't take something or if we couldn't upcycle it into something a little bit more modern, then we would donate it to local women's shelters, churches, schools, families in need. None of it was new. Everything we got was old furniture that we we made it cool. Got so many local artists involved to come in and do things, to build things, to hang their art, to play music, to arrange shows. A couple different people are like, hey, I'm really good at doing this and I've been wanting to do this project, but I'm not super great at this part. And they would meet somebody who was like, I can do that. And that was great to see people like working together. What made it unique was just how involved the community became immediately. I dressed like a real weirdo in high school. My grandmother worked with the Muni. She did costumes, hair, makeup. My grandfather was the orchestra leader, and he went to Juilliard when he was 15. I loved looking at old photographs of them. Like, everybody's style was so beautiful, so put together all the time. And it evolved. I mean, in high school, I kind of, like I said, went through a punk phase. And that was mostly just like horrible Salvation Army clothes and ripped fishnets. Now I would say I'm really inspired by like Wes Anderson. Things from the 20s through the 60s seem magical to me. We throw away our stuff when it doesn't fit. Well, I mean, some people don't even bother taking it to Goodwill or thinking women's shelters really do need these things. So I would really like to get away from that throwaway culture where we're doing that and make sure it goes to people who really need it and who are going to use it. And with vintage clothing, it's so well made that it can literally last forever if you take care of it. And there's so many one-of-a-kind pieces that you would never be able to find now, which is what I love. I used to be embarrassed sometimes when I'd walk out of the house in what I was wearing, and now I just, honestly, I don't give a fuck. Find your own style. Find what you're comfortable with. I don't look for labels anymore. I look for how well something is made. I look for handmade items more than anything. I make sure that I find out about the person that I'm getting these items from. I want some provenance on it. I like to know who wore it, what they wore it to, and like what it meant to them. This piece is actually from Etsy. This is one that I picked out because I could not resist it. This is a woman who is selling off a lot of her beautiful like 40s, 50s, 60s gowns. This is a 50s cocktail dress. This is another Etsy find from my favorite shop called The Cosmic Circle. It is handmade, so it's one of a kind. There's not another one like it out there. This was actually someone's wedding gown. I found this at an estate sale. This was the same woman that I spoke about earlier who worked for Anheuser. So this was one of her dresses, and I just absolutely love it. I think it's gorgeous. I like a lot of the really weird kind of like Andy Warhol girls. I think I actually take more inspiration from like characters in movies versus real life people. More than looking at famous people for style, my favorite thing to do now is Instagram. Teenage girls are really coming into their own. I don't know if you ever heard of Rookie before, but it's run by teenage girls. It's this magazine that's run by teenage girls, and it's all very like female positive. I like weird, quirky girls. I just like people who have really strange features and who aren't afraid to just step out into whatever the fuck they want. I know a lot of transgender youth right now, and like talking about their situations has been really awesome, and like how they're coping with coming out to their families. I was gonna have a dedicated phone line for anybody who needed to call at any hour of the night, and that was one of our really big things is There's no judging in the space. I'm really into this body positive movement that's going on where people are saying, you know, you can be thin or you can be bigger, you can have curves, and you're beautiful either way. And that's a big thing with what I love about vintage clothing is that, like, it's not all made for people who are size zeros. It's made for women who have curves. We offered personal styling, and so I would get to know the person and try to pick out like what I thought went with their personality, what they felt good in. And 9 times out of 10, I was always correct on what made them feel good. You know, some of them are newlyweds and people who want to look nice for their spouse. I've had a lot of people who've really pulled behind me and supported the idea of, yeah, it's going to be online for a while. I'm going to do local deliveries. My plan is hopefully to have a storefront within the next 1 to 2 years. I'm talking to a friend who's a jeweler who's also looking to open a new brick and mortar, so we're thinking about kind of collaborating and doing that, and having the traveling library, which is something we had at Urban. My prime mission is really community outreach and enrichment. It's really just about making Springfield a better place because I live here and I know I'm going to be here for a little bit longer. So I'd like to leave a good mark on it. Just because it's vintage doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. So really curating special things is important to me. I want to do something for the place that I'm living in that I've been complaining about for 20 some years. So I was like, it's time to stop whining and actually do something and put myself out there. And I've met so many fantastic people doing that. It's not mass produced. It's not something that you can find on a shelf anywhere. It's all special. It all meant something to somebody at some time in their life. The things that you think are a big deal when you're age, I don't know, for me it probably started about 10 or 12 when I became really uncomfortable with myself and other people started making me feel bad about myself. Until through high school, you know, I still had a lot of confidence issues. But once I started dressing how I wanted and going to shows and working at the movie theater and meeting new people, I just really kind of came out of that and realized that people spreading rumors, people making fun of you for how you look even though you can't help it, people making fun of your weight, whether you're large, skinny, in between, you know, physical things that you can't really change about yourself. None of those people matter. It's natural to go up and down and to feel not so great about yourself, and it passes. It really does. I was not a confident person at all in high school, not even a little bit. And now I just I laugh at the fact that I used to care about what those people thought. I think young girls should be lifting each other up, inspiring each other, collaborating, working together. I see, like I said, all these girls online who are doing stuff like this, and that's what I want to see girls pull together and do. You know, it makes me happy when I see girls actually working together instead of talking behind each other's backs. Empower yourself.